Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lost Sheep Podcast. I'm Nazario Pangallo.
And I'm Cole Bissett.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Episode number 25. A quarter of the way to 100, Cole. Did you ever think we would get this far?
No, I didn't. But you know what? Consistency is key, and I think we performed pretty well. So glad to see it.
Yeah. And 25, I would say it's a milestone. Quarter of the way towards 100, halfway to 50. We've been doing it for what? Like 6 months at least now, somewhere around there. So why not celebrate this special moment by bringing on my brother, Mr. Sloan Pangallo. Sloan, how we doing, sir?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm so excited to discuss some Jesus topics, and yeah, with a couple great dudes right here, so I'm ready.
So, Sloan, you met Cole, let's see, first time last summer when his family visited.
Absolutely.
Let's just get your first take. So what were your first thoughts on Cole? Anything, interesting about him, his family, or just looking at his luscious locks?
To loosen up the pressure here, Nazario, you can give your first impression, because I know you're a little nervous going into seeing me because of I have a lot of energy.
I don't know if I ever. Hold on, what was I gonna say? I completely lost what I was gonna say. I don't know where I was going with that first sentence, but I know that I was going to say your height was the first thing that threw me off. I just expected him to be smaller, and he wound up being taller. I remember what I was going to say. I was going to say, I don't remember if we've talked about this on the podcast before, what our first initial thoughts were. But then we played spike ball, and I'm pretty sure you whooped me, and you were talking about how you played it a lot during senior year, whatever they call it, gym class. And then we played some basketball, and you thought I was a good shooter. And then you brought out the guitar, and you were playing at the fire, and the family loved it, so that was awesome. And then you decided to come inside to play FIFA, and I was like, okay, we'll play a game or two. And it wound up going until 4 a.m. for some reason.
I remember that.
So we were playing a bunch of Champions League games, so it was a fantastic night, and I was like, all right, we're about to get after it when we got on Tuscaloosa. So what about you, Sloan?
I remember that happening. What, am I supposed to introduce, like...
No. What are your first thoughts on Cole?
Cole Bissett.
No. Yeah.
First time I met his family, they all seemed like really humble and like sweet people. I remember like the first thing about his family that stuck out to me. I watched this movie called Unbroken like a few days before we met you guys, and I always thought his younger brother looked like the guy from Unbroken.
Reed?
Yes, Reed.
Reed was actually Reed was on the
like,
podcast last episode.
Ooh,
so
really? I gotta watch that. Yeah, I always thought they looked kind of similar, but Cole was really nice. I remember him bringing out the guitar, and we stayed up till like 11 o'clock that night around the fire, listening to music, talking about movies and books. It was a fun time. It was awesome.
And now we gotta throw it back over to you, Cole. What were your?
I was about to say while we're
on Sloan.
Yeah, while we're on the topic, I might as well. Here, let's just go ahead and break down the Pangallo family here. I thought it was really neat. First thoughts on Nazario. When I walked up, I didn't think you were going to be as short as you are. I actually was kind of shocked. I thought you were going to be like 5'11", and I was like, he does, because you did not look very short in like your pictures. Your pictures make you look like a heck of a lot taller, in my opinion. But I didn't think you were going to be as short, and I was like, oh, he's a basketball player. I see the 3-pointer in him. I was like, this guy shoots threes. I know he does. And so we played some basketball, and he hit some, so it was nice. And then I really enjoyed meeting like y'all's entire family, every single one of y'all. There was a sort of like brightness that y'all had as a family, and it was really comforting to be around. I remember when we left, my entire family talked about how we wish we all lived closer to you guys. Just because of how like easy it was to talk and hang out with you guys. All of you, Sloan, great conversations, just really easy to talk to. Same with Solomon and your parents. I always thought your dad was sick. I really liked the fact that he was bald and he was a cop. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But yeah, y'all's family is awesome. Your mom was a great cook. It was just very welcoming.
Cole, I've got something that you're not gonna believe that I did today. Something that, whether it was from the beginning we met or throughout our relationship, you know that I'm not a big fan of this. What did I do today? Can you guess? I'll give you one guess to guess what I did today that I
One.
normally don't like doing.
Can I say 3 things and you can tell me if it's included in the 3?
Sure.
Okay. Hiking's 1. Let's see what else we got. Hiking. Normally you wouldn't like disc golf, but I feel like you've gotten more into that, so I don't think I'm going to say that. You know what? I might. I'll do hiking, disc golf, and then, what's another thing? You don't like... Yeah, no, we'll just say those 2. I think it's going to be one of those 2, honestly.
I will tell you that it's not one of those 2. I'll give you.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Oh, how early on did I know that you didn't like this?
Probably pretty early on, as far as I know.
Really?
Yeah. I'll give you a hint. You both
Gosh,
really
I have
like.
no idea.
Well, I'm not sure you both really like to do it, but you both do it a lot. You both. These 2 right here.
We do it a lot. Is it
Yeah.
talk? It's talk.
Yeah.
You talked a lot today.
Is that
Oh,
is that
okay.
your final guess?
We both do it.
Is that your final guess?
Sure. We'll make it my final. Well, no. What do we like to do, Sloan? Let's figure this out. This is a collaborative
He
effort.
knows-
Actually, I already.
he knows
Oh.
what it is.
Oh, dang it.
So,
That you
This was
do
mostly to see
and
your
I do.
reaction.
Did you run?
I did. He got it.
Yes, sir. Hey.
he went on a 1 mile
I went on
run.
a singular mile
Take
run.
it.
Now, what do you think my mile time was?
I'd say you're probably. I'm gonna say the range is 8 to 10 minutes. I'm gonna put you
And-
right at a solid. Oh, am I in the range or am I?
Your
Am I-
range
am
is
I-
perfect because I'm right in the middle. It was a 9.
Oh, there you go. What do you know?
So-
What do you know? And what inspired you to run today?
I've kind of just been feeling I want to get some endurance and stamina. And it's the preseason. We got intramurals coming up in a couple of months, weeks. I got to get ready. I got to be ready to go play offense and defense on the football teams, whether it's quarterback, wide receiver, defense. And then I got to be ready to play goalkeeper, and I got to be able to sprint out and make some plays. So I got to get the body prepared. And I thought this was the best way to do it, and I just got the motivation today, and I went and sent it. But let's change this to you guys. You're both runners. You both talk about running a lot.
Mhm.
So, Sloan, what is it about running that you love? Why did you get into it? And how has it, not only just been a physical thing, but a mental and a spiritual help for you in your life?
It's definitely a spiritual thing. I've talked to a few people about this, like my coaches and stuff. Like the first time I started running, it was definitely painful, but then it got to the point where my endurance started to build up, and during races I would see my times drop tremendously. But just running, first of all, running by myself or just running in general, the beauty of just taking in the beauty of the world that God gave us. Sunshine in the air, just the green trees, and just being able to just it doesn't really change. It's just step after step. It's not like you got to throw a ball or catch a ball like football or baseball or hit a ball. It's the repetitive thing, and some people might think it's boring, but really just that repetitive movement and having that grit to just keep going and not backing down it's just awesome to me. Yeah, I love races, especially just the fact that you get to push yourself beyond all limits. It hurts like heck, but just the fun of running so fast and being around other people too. Yeah, there's something so spiritual to it that you can grow spiritually because just grow in discipline of yourself, grow in patience after worrying about how your time's gonna drop or whatever that something like that. Yeah, just there's definitely a lot of spirituality to it, and sometimes I will throw up a few prayers or praises to our Lord while I'm running. So, and yeah, and I also just love running with our team, just because the beauty of running with people, it just makes me run faster. It does, and I love talking to people while I do that. So, yeah, just being able to talk about running and say I can do a sport just as phenomenal as this one. It's great.
What about you, Mr.
Yeah.
Jessup?
I can definitely add on to that. I'd like to start off by saying I'm an ex-runner. I haven't run in quite a while, so it's gonna hopefully as the school year starts back up, I'll get back into it. That's the plan as of right now, but plans change very quickly. So no, don't. I'm not gonna get my hopes up, but I'm gonna try to pursue it again. I love it. It's requires such discipline, and I think it really trains you in a lot of aspects of your life. Like with your job, it keeps you focused. It's something is going to train you to stay focused on your job, stay disciplined, stay persevering. That's what cross country is. And like Sloan said, it is very much a spiritual thing. I find myself, and this is like as a joke, but it's not really a joke, but like it can be a joke. Like when I'm in a race, I'm always saying the entire time, I'm like, please God, get me through this. And I'm saying it over and over and over again in my head, like I'm dying. Just help me make it to the finish line. Um, and that's what happened the entire time. Now, unlike Sloan, I hated the races. It was my least favorite part of cross country. I'd rather run two more practices than run a race, because they were the worst. But practices, I think the reason I liked them so much was the fact that we had so many trails where we were. And so anytime we ran, I was seeing something new every day. And so it was really nice, and especially with friends and everything. I don't know if y'all do trail running or if y'all are in the city, but trail running's the best in my opinion. So
Yeah, we hit a couple trails here and there, but mostly like on pavement or sidewalks and stuff like that. So
I got
All
you.
right, Slime. So we've heard about you like to run, but you also like to bring God into your running. So, excuse me. So how did you get this spiritual, fire inside of you to not only go out and be a runner and do that self-discipline and dedication that you talked about, bring your running into it, but just your life in general? How did your faith get to where it is today?
it's definitely been a process. Like really, it just took a while just building up to become where I am today, and I'd say I'm a lot different. Like if you were to ask me who I am now compared to 3 years ago, you wouldn't think it's like the same person. Like yeah, it's crazy. But basically, as quick as I can like say it, I was basically born like a cradle Catholic, a lot of people like to say, so I was raised Catholic, and then I went to Mass, did all the sacraments, and like there wasn't much to it. Like I didn't have too much of a relationship with God, but He was in my heart definitely. Just that fire wasn't there yet. Then when I started to get like maybe 12 or 13, I started to think about God over several months, and then I just got to the point, probably like maybe 12 or 13 years old, where I just felt like I was too much of a selfish person. I feel like something was missing in my life. I wasn't kind. I wanted to be more kind. There was a lot of problems with me, so I looked for an answer, and it took time. Definitely, it took like over a couple years to build faith and to where I am now. Like I said, but definitely some struggles and some sins were committed to get there, and definitely like you live and you learn and you grow and become a better person. And then I just got to the point where I started to love Mass, started to love prayer, started to grow closer to the Eucharist, and I became like a joyful person, and I definitely got to express that. So I'm a sophomore now. I got to express that last year when I went into high school. I think I felt like I got myself pretty figured out, and just live a joyful life. Just kind of be who God created me to be, I guess, if that makes sense.
And so now, sophomore in high school, but you're a part of what they call the YSAT group
Oh yeah.
in Northern Kentucky. So could you just talk a little bit about what that is, what that means, and what all your guys' mission is to do?
I was hoping you would ask that question, but yeah. Just before I got on the podcast, I was texting some of the team, as we call it, the YSET team, and I was telling them about this podcast, and then that is the thing. It was a Catholic podcast and Catholic Christian whoever podcast, and that they should definitely listen to it, and that I would be starring on it if that helped them to listen. But it's called YSET. It's an acronym, Youth Commission Evangelization Team. I hope I got that right. It all started like February of this year. It used to exist like 10 years ago, I think, and then it kind of came back this year, and everyone had to do, you had to get recommended first to join the team, and then when you got recommended by some person, then you would have a interview. And so about, I think 15 of us interviewed, and I think, well, like we all got in. I think one person might have had to drop out, so I think we're down to 14 members, and they're all high school, so like 14 of us high schoolers. But I hope that'll grow. It's not like that's a small amount, but yeah, I hope it grows, and that's who we have. Yeah, we have, so we're all high schoolers. We're led by two great leaders, young adult leaders. But really it's like a team in the Diocese of Covington, and our goal is to just really like evangelize and start retreats in our area for high schoolers, maybe even grade schoolers here and there, and just bring others closer to Christ in the Diocese of Covington, which is our diocese area. So like in northern Kentucky, in Ohio. So yeah, and what we've been saying recently a lot is that like we're thinking that's really came to like one of our leaders, one thought that's come to our mind is that like the seed is ready to be planted, and we are just the sowers, and we are just getting started and planting all that. So yeah, I love evangelization. Shout out to the YSET team if they're gonna listen to this at some point. We're so excited. So it's a young mission. It's like it just started, and so I'm hopeful to see what else happens. So
yeah, I think what you said about the seed and planting the seed and that's ready to be sown just goes perfectly into our quote for today. So, since you are the guest on the podcast, Mr. Pangallo, Mr. Sloan Pangallo, could you please introduce us to our quote? And then, once you introduce the quote, I'd like you to throw it to either Cole or myself to get the ball rolling.
Okay. Our quote of the day is, "To judge others is to exclude their potential." This quote came to us from our pastor at St. Patrick's, Father Jeff. And yes, I think I'd like to throw it. I think Mr. Bissett, I think you could try to start us off and see. I want to see what your thoughts are on this quote.
Yeah, so recently we did an episode on judgment, and we talked about how important it is to judge the action and not the person. And that's really essential in today's time, especially because you see all these different people coming out with different allegations, and a lot of times people jump down their throats and immediately assume the worst in the person. And while they did do some horrible things, you also got to understand that it's the devil that's tempting them to do this, and they've just fallen into a sort of sin that's more open and requires a bigger form of punishment. But it's still, we cannot judge the person, we can only judge the action. Now, to talk specifically about this quote, to judge others is to exclude their potential. Let's go ahead and jump into that. Caroline would be very upset with me if I didn't quote Jeremiah 29:11 for this, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. God has plans to prosper us and give us hope in the future. So what does that mean? That means when we were created, God has intent for us to do great things. God created us to come to Him, which is the greatest thing of all time, if you think about it. So it doesn't matter what you were born to do, whether you were born to be a carpenter, whether you were born to be a sailor, whether you were born to be an engineer, a sports broadcaster, a monk, a priest. It doesn't matter. In the end, your final goal is heaven, right? And so it doesn't matter what we want to will or wish upon others. If we are judging them for their actions, we are essentially secluding them from heaven. And so, in sin, it's a sin of its own. By judging other people wrongfully, you are, in a sense, sinning. Because, but yeah, Nazari, you got anything on that?
Yes, so I didn't expect to bring this into the conversation, but it just popped in my text. There was an opening ceremony, I believe that's what it was. But basically, it was the mockery of the Last Supper. And before this, just about probably 30 minutes before, from the Theology of the Body Institute by the creator, Christopher West. And he talked about this exact thing, the Last Supper mockery. When I first saw it, I thought it was very jarring, and I was very concerned with the people. And he said, it's really not surprising. While it does give us this sense of kind of this just like, oh my gosh, like, are they really doing this when we look at it? But he said it wasn't surprising because the devil, the enemy, has been trying to mock God and will always desire to mock God throughout the rest of his time. And when you think about it like that, into thinking that not all drag queens, I'm pretty sure, that whole mantra of who they are, and they're really to mock the Last Supper, whatever that may be, whatever the reasoning be for that, the ultimate goal of that was for the devil to mock God and to mock with us. And so that is what this mockery is. And because of it, originally, I thought that these people, oh my gosh, this is terrible what these people have done. And then this quote and this video that I just watched before this turns that around. Because those people, while they did make a mistake, they were also tricked into it completely. We've all been fooled into making sins and to making bad decisions. And unfortunately for those people, it was right out in front of the public, and they'll be scrutinized and criticized by it because of what it's done. But for some of us, that doesn't happen because there might be closed doors, people don't see it. But we all do the same thing. And so it's not our duty to say these people are done for, and because they made a terrible decision, it's over with. It is our duty as Christians especially to flip that thought, flip potential out of the wazoo. And these type of people are hurting, and they are in deep distress. They are trying to fill a very large void in their lives, and the world is telling them something, and they are listening to the world, and this is what's happening. But there is a brighter day, and there is potential for them to be sought, and they need those seeds to be sown. And it's our job to do that. And we have the greatest potential ever to be seen by God and who they're truly supposed to be. And it's up to us to change our vision, change our mind, change our thoughts into thinking this way, into thinking that people have incredible potential, whether it be when my little brother Sloan would rage at Fortnite and scream his head off, and now he's turned into this. So, and then whether it's Cole Bissett turning from a 5'4", 85-pound 8th grader in cross country to a 6'1" specimen. So it all turns around in different ways. I know Cole's cross country coach, he would probably tell you, I don't know what this kid was doing on the team, but he worked his butt off to try to coach Cole, and Cole worked his butt off to become the runner that he did. And whether it's spiritually, sorry, something's.
I hear it.
What's going
It's
on?
kind of funny.
A podcast.
Oh, and
It
for
was like another podcast came
Hold on a
through.
second.
for those of you who are wondering what Nazario is talking about, I think I can get it on the screen. Hold up.
Are you pulling something up? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I can get it on the screen, I believe.
Ooh, okay. I was like, what is going on right now? I was so confused for a second.
Hold up.
But anyways,
Let me
Either this
let me
is
try it while y'all are doing that.
Maybe this is God trying to tell us there's something he wants to show us. Maybe.
it could be. Sloan, first thoughts on this quote that you've brought to us. I mean, this is your quote. You wrote it down in your book of quotes.
Yes, my book of quotes.
You want to just give us a little intro to your book of quotes and all of them in there and how you came to the decision to do this quote?
Yes. Before I get to that, what I was thinking that came to me, like while you were talking about that, is just another quote came to my mind was, every saint had a past and every sinner has a future. So for those people specifically, who did that in the Olympics, they have a future, and we shouldn't judge them, but instead we should focus our attention on loving that they might have used their potential and they could go far and they could become a saint. From sinner to saint. So
I mean,
It's very funny that you mentioned that because we've done an episode actually on that exact quote. So funny enough, everything
really?
links back to one another. And real quickly,
yeah.
just to show you guys what Nazario is talking about with the Olympics, this right here is what he's talking about. I don't know if can y'all see that?
yeah, we can. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so that right there is what he's talking about with the Olympics. So it's just, while like the presence of the devil has, like, it's always been there over the years, the reason, and these people have just fallen into this temptation and we can't judge them for that, but the reason it's become so obvious and it's talked about it a lot more in a bigger sense is because of how much the world has changed over the years, right? We've, as a human culture, have allowed it to become something big. And so it's just more apparent with all the news media and all the television. So while it is a scary thing, it's always been around, and it is just more present in the media sense than it ever has been before. And I'm sure Nazario can attest to that, considering this is your job. So
Yeah, it's pretty scary what's going on, and really with all of media, my MacBook is trying to go with Siri now. I mean, what is going on right now?
You know, it's crazy. Mine isn't having technical difficulties this time. It's not me.
This is weird.
It's always me,
Okay,
Sloan. I'm
there we go.
telling you,
Siri's
always
gone.
me.
Siri is gone. Okay, so yeah, just media in general is, well, obviously there's tons of different media, but really we see a lot of the most watched media or the loudest media that seems to get all these headlines is the one pushing a lot of these agendas that we don't like. But there is hope. There is other types of media that are coming out and that are trying to push good things and good values. So we hope that those can become more apparent and more popular and more seen by more and more people. But, you know, we didn't want to exactly get into a conversation about this whole topic. We just thought, you know, this was a great way to show that potential can be seen from this. And we've had saints since the apostles all the way to, we have Blessed Carlos Acuzzi will be eventually, we hope, the first canonized saint that was born in the 2000s.
I love that.
So the saints are not done. Like they didn't just die off. They don't just not exist anymore. There is a very real possibility that legitimately one of those people from that event wound up actually turning into a saint, which would be just the most God thing to do if you think about it. And Christopher West was talking about this, how God takes this terrible thing that the devil has done and turns it into something magnificent. And how awesome would that be if you had this mockery that everyone's up in arms about, and then 10, 15 years later, you see this incredible evangelizer, whether it's a man or a woman, and they're like, yeah, 15 years ago, you remember this picture? Yeah, that was me. And look how God has changed it. Someone's coming into your room, Cole.
It's Reed.
Special.
Reed, would you mind shutting the door
Reed's
behind you?
special guest.
Thank you. Sorry, he noticed we were in.
Some great podcasting right here.
Yeah,
But- Yeah, so it's very real possibility that happens, and not just with these type of events and these type of people, but any type of people. Anyone can be turned around in all different types of ways, and that potential is untapped potential. And this is going to be a funny one. For any of you that are out there that have played the new college football video game, when you are recruiting players and you scout them, you're always looking for that green gem to pop up. And that green gem stands for potential, untapped potential, and that these players are the best and can develop into the best players. If you have a 5-star gem, they're going to turn into a 99 overall if it's done the right way. If you have a 75 overall gem, you're going to hopefully develop them to like a 90. But I like to say this. We're all 5 stars, and we're all green gems. But it is up to the right developer to develop us into those superstars that we can potentially be the superstars of faith. Saints, superstars of faith. I wish that acronym went together. That'd be so sick.
That's like
But
one of the best examples. That's like gonna go down in the history of examples.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's
I love that.
gonna go down on Instagram Reels is what it's gonna go down on.
dude, and we'll
but
put the algorithm hashtag EA Sports College Football
EA
25.
Sports is going to be
You gotta
quoting.
put that all over
this.
it, and it'll be fantastic.
They're gonna be quoting this episode of the Lost Sheep podcast.
Oh yeah, no, it'll be on there. It'll be on there. Well, Sloan, I feel like we haven't given you a ton of chance to talk about it, and so I kind of want to swing it over to you. What are your first initial thoughts about it? Why did you pick this quote and bring it to us?
The first time, well, you know those moments in your life, like really Holy Spirit guided, when you hear something, and I, particularly for me, like quotes really stick out to me and jump out. But like if you're reading a scripture passage or if you're reading the gospel, something just jumps out at you. And so originally where I got this quote was from our priest's homily at St. Patrick's, and just when he said it, it just opened my eyes, like to see something that was really beautiful. Because I've struggled a lot with judging people myself instead of loving them, and I've taken it to confession before. It's a difficult thing, but I'm definitely getting better at it. Just like, yeah, that idea of loving instead of judging, and just to look at someone and think of the potential that they could have is really, it's a beautiful thing. But usually something like a lot of people, I think, for most people, judging would almost, to me, it's like just looking at someone's appearance, or like the clothes someone wears, or like maybe the hairstyle they have, or I don't know, something crazy, or just how they act, what they do. You just judge someone by that. And of course, the easy thing to say is, which is sometimes it really isn't that easy, is what would Jesus do? He would love first and foremost instead of judging. And usually maybe those people who do like crazy stuff or like things that you would judge them for turn out to be like really good people, which I guess is another topic, but like just the fact that like really not judging a book by its cover, I guess you could say, and not just being patient and willing to see what God has in store for that person, and really just the potential that your relationship could have with that person. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I think that's
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a little bit of a idea that popped in my head when he was speaking, Sloan, my brother right here, and we're obviously going to have thoughts pop into our mind when we look at someone, whether it's because of their appearance or because of their clothing, and really with everything in our life. Like, we cannot control a thought popping into our head, right? Like, our thoughts, we can control them once they begin, but like, if I'm looking at Cole and randomly it just pops in my head, like, black hair or something like that, something's just going to pop in our head. But it's what we do with that when it comes about. And Christopher West talks about this a lot, and I reference him a lot because he is a very incredible inspiration for me. He talks about redirecting our desires, and our brokenness from the fall has taken what God has designed as self-giving love that is supposed to go outward and redirected it. You look like you are so bad right now, Cole. You were frozen and you looked so upset.
No, I'm
lost in
like
space.
I'm like zoned in. I'm just zoned in. I'm
Okay.
dialed in
And
right
so-
now.
And so, self-giving love before the fall, and when the fall happened, all of our desires were reinverted inside of us, or towards ourselves. So when we think about people in this judgmental way, how does it work, right? It is, you can tell when you think about it, that is inward, and that you see someone, you're like, oh, I would never do that. I cannot believe they're doing that. And instead, why not redirect it towards a self-giving type of love? And it can be in different ways. One way that I've tried to balance it with thoughts that people that pop in my head, and whether it's like, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe that this person put this lyric in this song, or I can't believe this person posed in this type of bathing suit or something like that, and redirect it into prayer for them is one way, and redirect it into a second thing, and you can be like, God, I'm so thankful that I was not exposed to these things that these people have, because a lot of people go through a lot of struggles, and that's what they are kind of forced sometimes into these bad decisions, and they've just grown up in a world that sometimes isn't as good as some of our other circumstances. For both of us, and for all three of us, cradle Catholics, as we said. So one of the best situations that we can get as a Christian. A lot of people weren't grown up in that, and we have to understand this and better redirect our thoughts and our desires, and we can turn them into something so good. And it's what we're called to every day. It all starts inside of us. It all starts with our mind. It all starts by redirecting, not inverted, outwarded. And that's how we get back to the true goodness of who we are as human beings, and back into the goodness that is before the fall, and how we were designed and created to be exactly self-giving love, complete self-giving love. And in everything that we do, we can do that same thing, redirect our desires, whether it be lust, greed, pride, judgment, all of it can be done and changed into that if you just follow that simple thing, redirect the desires into love. And for some people, what love truly means is a tough thing, and we have to learn that as well, but that's a whole different conversation. But redirect those desires is for sure what I would say.
Love and
Yeah.
pray for others. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone has their struggles. Some are more obvious than others. And so it's important when you see these obvious struggles in another person, because some of those vices are more visually displaying, that you do pray for them, because while your own personal struggles may not be very visually out there and for people to know, because maybe you're struggling with something internally, maybe you struggle with pride, greed, most of those things are internal struggles that cause you to sin, while there are other ones that are more outward. And so it's important to know that you are going through very similar struggles as them. Theirs may just be more visible than yours.
That's a great point.
Yes. And so I think we're at 38 minutes in currently. And so I think it's a great time to hop over to Shepherd of the Week. Nazario, would you mind doing the music again like you did last time while I do the transition?
Do 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 do. Shepherd of the Week.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Welcome
sorry.
back, guys.
I love
I didn't know what you meant at first, and I was like, oh, he's telling me to do it myself. So there you go.
Yeah, it's Sloan. So welcome to the Shepherd of the Week. I have not told you who it is, unless you read the chat, which I put in there just in case to prep you guys. It's a football player. He's a quarterback. Who would you guess I would choose currently? Most of the time, the Shepherd of the Week is somebody we view as a role model, and displays good character as far as Christianity goes.
He is retired, and he has a lot of kids. I'll give you that.
He's retired. Oh, I was gonna say like some college dude. No, this is difficult. He's retired.
You want a hint on the team he played for?
Maybe.
Chargers.
Oh, dang! I was gonna say like Peyton Manning or something. Peyton Manning or
Probably
like
during
Tom
the
Brady.
time of Peyton
Tom
Manning.
Brady.
He was very big. Well, not very big. He had a pretty decent career. Not one of the most successful quarterbacks, but a good quarterback.
Would I know his name? Like what I know of him?
He's Catholic.
I don't know. Any other hints? I'm not that much of a football guy. Like,
His last name has to do with water.
okay.
You might as well just say it.
Yeah, okay.
Probably
Well,
should.
at this point, so ladies and gentlemen, NFL star, quarterback, 10 children, 3 girls, 7 boys,
That's awesome.
very devout Catholic, very big in the media world as far as podcast goes about his Christianity, very loving relationship to his high school sweetheart. We welcome you to Philip Rivers.
Imagine he just popped on.
Yeah,
So
it'd be
awesome.
crazy. Yeah, just a nice guess.
Dude.
But yeah, Philip Rivers, very, very devout Catholic. He had a decent career. While he's not as notable as Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or even Eli Manning, he still had a pretty decent career. He played for how many years do you think, Nazario?
At least like 15 to 17. He had a very long career.
Oh wow.
hmm He threw for a combined total of 13,000 yards. Um,
There's no way he only
in his
threw for
college
13,000
career,
yards.
in his college
Okay.
career at NC State. Um,
I'm gonna guess he
and
threw for 47,000 in his NFL career.
This guy's insane at sports.
47,000. Let me look. He had. You think 47,000?
Yes.
Dang, you're lowballing him, dude. That's a lowball right there. There you go, right on the money. 63.
Ooh.
63,000 yards with the Chargers. Was his most notable team that he played for. That was, I think, the high point of his career was at the Chargers, probably. But yeah, not Peyton Manning, Philip Rivers. Nazar, you got anything to say on him, or you want me to keep talking?
He's just one of those guys that was one of the most nitty-gritty quarterbacks out there. I mean, you watched him. His throwing motion was so funky. He moved around the pocket just like a tough man that would not go down. You just wondered how in the world this dude makes it. But he just got the job done. It was simple as that. He wasn't super blessed with an unbelievable amount of athleticism. He had a solid arm, nothing spectacular, no Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers type of arm talent. And it wasn't like he could run around and do whatever he wanted. But he just played the game the right way. He just figured out who was going to be open. He had a great partnership with the great tight end Antonio Gates, and unfortunately, he never broke through for a big Super Bowl or anything like that. But he was just consistent. It was always like this for him. It was just a straight line, even keel. Always figured it out. Always got it done, and an inspiring quarterback for sure. And I wasn't very happy with him when he came to Cincinnati and whooped on the Bengals in the playoffs back in, I believe that was 2015. But, respect to my man for balling on us. So.
See, what's really cool about Philip Rivers is he's from Alabama. So is his mother, and so little story about her. She used to go to a camp down that I used to go to. It was called Camp Kateri Tekakwitha, and it was just a religious weekend. And she used to come there, and she would run the root beer float stand for the nights for the kids. And so we eventually recruited her to throw the football to us. And might I say, she throws just like her son, nothing but dots. And so it was a very fun weekend. I got 2 rookie cards signed by Philip Rivers. I asked her to give them to him, and he signed them. And I wrote a letter telling him to beat Cam Newton because he's from Auburn and we can't put up with him. And I do believe they beat the Panthers that year, so that was really nice. So yeah, it was really neat. He wrote back to me. I actually probably have the letter in a box right there that I could grab. But yeah, it's really, really awesome guy, really personable. His mom is so caring. They're all really devout in your faith, and you can definitely tell in their actions on and off the field how they present themselves as a family. And even like having 10 kids, that aspect as a whole just shows how much they value the family union, which is so lost in society today.
Yeah, we appreciate Philip Rivers for everything he's done and how to be just a simple father and man of God. And it's never super flashy with him. It's just doing it the right way and the simple way. And sometimes that's all it takes. It doesn't have to be some grand thing. If we all do it the simple way, do the little things right, it's going to turn into something spectacular. As Siri once again
I think I did that on accident.
gone off.
Siri.
Sorry, guys. The technical troubles on today's episode are second to none. So
It's really crazy. My my headphones are like stereo, and so it sounds like it's in all around me. So whenever something happens, I swear any movement or anything, I think it's in my room, and it's freaking me out because I feel like I'm hearing ghosts.
yeah.
But yeah.
All right,
It-
Sloan Pangallo. We are 45, 46 minutes in. This is one of our longer episodes, so we appreciate you being on. But before then, you give us your final thoughts on God, life, the quote, whatever it may be, however you want to finish the episode on your side, sir. And then Cole and I will finish it off with our final thoughts before we send it off into the sunset.
You know, as Eminem would say, you've only got one shot. This is your shot right here. So, voice what you got to say to the people. They're waiting to hear from you.
I might go a little bit off quote.
We love
That's
that.
fine.
We love that.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. If I was to say anything with the time I have, really a topic in my mind is evangelizing. Like wherever anyone, the crowd might be here today, one of the greatest things that we can offer the world is evangelization, as I've learned and grown in that, which has become like a really big calling in my life. Just in any way in your life that you can show, you can radiate kindness or radiate something Christ-like, or be humble, give to others, serve others. Any way that you can bring others closer to Christ is just such a beauty to life, such a good thing. Just wherever anyone might be, if it's in school or whatever you may be doing, just always try to do what Christ would do. Like one of those bracelets would say, what would Jesus do in those moments? Keep your spiritual life strong. Pray to God, like maybe 15 minutes a day. Read the Bible. Grow in wisdom. Ignorance of Scripture is ignorance of Christ. Try to grow closer to God and be that person for others. And in doing that for others, as you grow yourself, and you become a more joyful person, and you can be more pleased with your life. Just really, I guess what I'm striving for is just bring yourself and others to heaven, which is our final goal in life, is bring everyone to heaven. So on the last day of judgment, we may, as many brothers and sisters as humanely possible, that we can bring up to heaven. But yeah, as far as the quote goes, just like be patient with like your judgment in life. Just love and pray, and for those people, and yeah, think of how you would like to be thought of if you were judged. But yeah, I had such a great time on the podcast with you guys. Like, I love talking, so if you guys ever want me back, I would absolutely love to come back. I love talking about things. I have to get better on it. I probably struggled maybe a little bit here and there today, but yeah, I'd love to come back, and whenever you need me. I need to watch more of your guys' episodes, because sometimes it's hard for me to get the time or make the time to watch the Last Street podcast. So I hope you guys can keep growing in this podcast and show others the faith and bring others closer to God, as always. So thank you.
Well, Sloan, we love having you on here. It's really awesome to see this much wisdom and knowledge in someone younger than us, because while we are young, it still is very awesome to see it in somebody else that's even younger. It means you're on all the steps in all the right direction, and we hope to be doing the exact same thing you are doing today with our future. We want to grow in knowledge. We want to pursue God, because all of us are far from perfect, and I just loved having you on here, dude. It was a lot of fun. You're welcome to come on anytime. Just give us a call, shoot us a message, whatever. We'd love to have you again. But yeah, Nizar, you got anything before I close?
I would say, and I'm not sure if you feel this, Cole, with your younger siblings. You are the complete oldest in your family, and I am the oldest sibling of my mother's. So I'm older than him, older than my brother Solomon. We got a older brother Nico that we are working on, and love prayers from everybody on the pod, listening to the pod. But I would say one of the greatest gifts in life is to be an older sibling. The responsibility and the leadership role that we must grow into is very fruitful. Very fruitful. Not only do we get to see what our younger siblings go through, we get to help them through that. We get to hopefully teach them, help them to do things that we wish we would have done when we were their age and help them not to do things that we wish we wouldn't have done, and help them to learn and to grow. And it gives us just another reason to push through and to persevere, to know that we have younger siblings that are looking up to us and that they are truly wanting to be like us because they just look up to us that much. And we just thank all the younger siblings out there, all the older siblings. If you have younger siblings, please take this into account. Know that they look up to you very much so. And I've seen that by how I've gone away to college and how everyone welcomes me back. I'm not sure if I realized it quite until then, but it brought a nice light to what that means. And if you're a younger sibling, do not be afraid to look up to your older sibling. They are trying to help you, but also don't be afraid to call out your older sibling if they need it. We all need it sometimes. Sloan's done that plenty to me. I'm sure Reed or maybe even Steven has done that to you before, Cole. We're all together. We're all one body in Christ. We're all trying to get to the same place, and we all have the same mission. And why not do it together? Why not lead each other? Why not help each other? It's a beautiful thing to do. All we have to do is love. Sloan, we thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
I love doing this stuff. So
we will definitely have you on again. Maybe we'll shoot for Christmas break. Cole, that gives us another incentive to make it through the fall semester, to keep on pushing through. Sloan, once again, we thank you for being on. We thank you all for listening, watching, wherever you get your podcast, whether on YouTube. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Shorts, YouTube, podcast, subscribe, do all those things. Help us to continue to spread the message. If by doing that, more people can see it. Even though you may not be coming on the podcast, which we would love if you would want to do that, let us know. But you can also spread the message through likes, subscribes, shares. That also works. Get that algorithm popping, just like with that EA college football reference. I had that planned for sure. I knew that was the reason. Anyways, we thank you all for watching. The potential is there for everyone. Just got to know where to find it. Everyone has that green gem. I can see it in you. I can see it in you right now, Cole, with that green shirt. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week. God bless. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lost Sheep Podcast. I'm Pangallo here with
Cole Bissett.